Lost in all of the recent hullabaloo over the you-know-what virus has been a recent YouTube purge that hasn't gotten too much attention. Clip show channels or compilation channels have been losing their monetization. Now these clip show channels, you have undoubtedly seen hundreds of these videos. TikTok compilations, Vine compilations, NFL craziest catches compilations, Major League Baseball fights, greatest NASCAR crashes, meme compilations, funny anime moments compilations, you name it, there is a channel dedicated to compiling it. And YouTube has recently laid down the ban hammer, so to speak, and taken away their monetization. Now wait a minute, how in the world were these channels able to get monetized in the first place? Like, isn't this all copyrighted content? Well, an interesting thing, a lot of these channels have been able to get around the Content ID system. With Vines and TikToks, none of that stuff was in the Content ID system to begin with. And the Viners and TikTokers, how would they even go about enforcing their copyright on this stuff? When it comes to sports, yeah, the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, the Super Bowl, the World Series, NBA Finals, these are all in the Content ID system, but the regular rank and file games, so-and-so versus I didn't even know that town had a professional sports team, those games, they probably skate underneath the Content ID system because there's hundreds of hours of gameplay footage out there. They can't upload all of that to the Content ID system. And with anime and some of this other stuff, it's so obscure that it never got uploaded to the Content ID system to begin with. I know Goblin Slayer, that's not exactly an obscure anime. That is available to watch on YouTube, dubbed in full. To this day, it's still up. Somebody uploaded the entire series on YouTube, and Funimation, for whatever reason, just has not yet enforced their copyright on it. Not to mention, if you do get copyright claimed, you can always appeal that decision. And if the copyright holder does not get back to YouTube in 30 days, well, you automatically win. So a lot of these compilation channels would do that. They would upload a video, it would get claimed, they would appeal it immediately, and all of the money it makes gets held in escrow until somebody wins the dispute. So they would just wait it out, and hopefully at the end of 30 days, whoever the copyright holder was would just forget about it, and then boom, it's payday. Now, I don't disparage compilation channels in the slightest. I think they're a necessary part of the YouTube ecosystem, and one could argue that YouTube would not exist if it weren't for these channels. I mean, even one of YouTube's founders started YouTube because he wanted to watch a funny clip of some TV show and he couldn't find it anywhere. And he basically just said, screw it, I'll do it myself. Thus, YouTube was born. But if these people really are compiling other people's copyrighted content, why are you just taking away their monetization? Why is YouTube just doing that? Couldn't they just yeet their entire channel? Well, they could, but really that's more the prerogative of the copyright holder. And again, a lot of this stuff has been skating by the bot undetected, or being appealed and the copyright holders just don't know what's going on. But you gotta remember, of all the ad revenue that you make, YouTube gets a cut of that, about 40%, I believe. So when you see your revenue report and it's, $500, that is your 60% cut. YouTube has already taken out their 40%. So if you know anything about the law, if YouTube is profiting off of somebody else uploading copyrighted content and basically being a pirate, and YouTube's making money off of that, then YouTube is liable to be sued. Now, after COPA, YouTube has kind of learned its lesson. They don't want that to happen anymore, so now they're being proactive and they're actually trying to find these channels and take away their monetization. It all has to do with the DMCA safe harbor provision. This is a loophole that shields YouTube from any sort of litigation. And the safe harbor provision basically works like this. YouTube cannot be held liable for nefarious actions on their site if they didn't know it was going on. Now this is a tricky situation because YouTube now has to claim and prove ignorance, which if you know anything about the law is incredibly difficult. But there is a workaround for this as well. If YouTube has a showing of good faith, that they are acting in good faith, that hey, we were made aware of these channels compiling copyrighted content and we took away their profit incentive so that we're not profiting off of it and they're not profiting off of it. Yes, it is copyrighted content, but we have a Content ID system. You can upload your content on there so it can get bopped. You chose not to do that. You chose to let these appeals go by after 30 days. That's on you, not us. We have a system in place to deal with this stuff and you just haven't used it. That shields YouTube from any possible litigation. But they have to be proactive, and if they are made aware of these channels, they have to take their monetization away because they are legally on the hook for it. Now, a lot of these compilation channels have been obviously very upset about this. They've been making bank on these channels. Some of them have gotten actually pretty damn big, like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of subscribers, all told across their entire channel, sometimes millions of views, which means thousands of dollars is up for grabs here. A lot of them have said, hey, doesn't this fall under fair use? This is all BS. This falls under fair use. I should get my cut of the money. To which I say, no, not in any definition of fair use that I have ever seen does a compilation video or a clip show fall under fair use. In order to claim fair use, you need one or more of three things. One, you have to have commentary of the footage being shown. Two, critique of the footage being shown. Or three, the copyrighted material that you are using has been transformed in such a way that it is now a new entity. So commentary would be, say, a NASCAR crash compilation and you talking over these crashes, explaining what's going on, explaining who's involved, what happened, what led up to it, how bad it was, and everybody walked away, that kind of stuff. Critique would be, say, I Hate Everything's video on the Rise of Skywalker, his review of the movie. He shows pretty much nothing but trailer footage, but he chops the footage up and he critiques the movie. And he makes sure that the trailer footage lines up with what he's talking about in his critique. And then something being transformative in nature, that would be Imp Lemon's YouTube poop, The Uncredibles, based off of the Disney movie, The Incredibles. It's basically just an 8-minute mashup, just a nonsensical remix of the original movie. But he's changed it so much that it is no longer The Incredibles, it's like something completely new now. It is Imp Lemon's own personal content. Nobody is tuning in to watch The Uncredibles for 8 minutes and thinking, what a great way to watch 8 unedited minutes of The Incredibles for free. That's not what's going on here. This is now something completely different. This is like a remixed song or something like that. This is why Vaporwave falls under fair use, despite the fact that all the sound effects and music that they're using was originally copyrighted content. So that is how you claim fair use. You cannot claim fair use by just compiling other people's unedited footage for 30 seconds, a minute, or 2 minutes at a time, and then adding another minute or two of unedited content, and just adding one on top of the other, offering no commentary, critique, or transformation of the original work. So if you are one of these channels, what do you do? Well, you can reapply for monetization once every 30 days, and you can change the type of content that you're uploading so that it falls under one of these three definitions of fair use. Start adding commentary or critique to those vines and TikToks that you were compiling together. And then boom, you got your monetization back. And I know a lot of these channels are probably going to be mad that YouTube took away their monetization. They have to go through this whole process, and they may even have to reinvent their entire channel. But just remember, YouTube is having to dodge a legal bullet here, and they're also helping you dodge that bullet. You can't be held liable to be sued if you weren't making any money off of it. The person who had the original copyright can't sue you for damages and say that, hey, you made X number of dollars and I want that now because that's my content. Some of these channels might say, oh, well, Highlight Heaven, they're monetized. What's the deal with that? I think Highlight Heaven honestly has some sort of partnership with the NFL. That's why they're able to do what they do. Well, what about Jake Baskinger, the NASCAR compilation channel? He got his monetization taken away. He didn't really change his content, and then he got his monetization back. Look, I don't know if the person that was in charge of the appeals that day was just having a bad day and they were just approving every single appeal, but I do know that I was in talks with Jake Baskinger when his channel originally got demonetized, and when he got his monetization back, even he was surprised that he got it back as fast as he did. Maybe he was put on some sort of whitelist by NASCAR. I don't know for sure. Again, you'll have to ask him about that. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, I don't have anything to worry about. You know, I've been monetized for years now. I should be good. No, if you're a compilation channel or a clip show channel, I really think it's only a matter of time until you get bopped. It's a matter of when, not if. Your time is coming, and now is a great time to pivot towards making your own original content that falls under fair use. Again, I don't mean to disparage anybody, but that is just the legal definition that I'm working with. Those are the rules that YouTube has set out there, and they are merely trying to enforce these rules that we all have to abide by. So if you were looking to pivot into commentary or critique or having something transformative in nature, now is probably the best time to do something like that. You already have a big fan base in place. Most channels never get that number of subscribers that you already have. You can use that to springboard off into something new. And who knows, maybe even grow your channel bigger than it ever was. Way bigger than just being a compilation channel. Because the thing about compilation channels, yeah, you can get a whole lot of views and you can get a whole lot of subscribers, but nobody really cares what you think. And that's because there's no opportunity for you to show your personality. Guys like Philip DeFranco, Nerd City, Imp Lemon, you can tell who they are kind of as a person by their original work. That's the reason I was able to get 57,000 subscribers on my main channel, was because I put myself out there. I put my personality out there. People liked the way that I thought. They liked the way that I worded things. But if you're a compilation channel, that kind of connection with your audience and people that just like the way you think and you really jive with them, you're never going to get that if you're just a compilation channel. There's always going to be that one aspect missing. So again, if you can pivot towards commentary or critique, you can really expand your brand and expand your channel to reaches that you never before thought possible. So if you're ever looking for a time to pivot, now is the time. Be like YouTube. Be proactive about this. See the writing on the wall and try to be ahead of the curve. The last thing you want is for your monetization to get taken away, and the you-know-what virus that YouTube's already said that if your monetization gets taken away or you get a strike or something, the appeal process will be slowed down. If it was slow before, it's going to be way slower now. So now is the time to be proactive, not later. So hopefully if you fall into the category of a clip show channel or a compilation channel, this has given you some pause for thought or a pathway back to monetization. Again, I think these types of channels are good for the YouTube ecosystem, but I don't think they deserve to be monetized. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody who makes original content. Let's say that you go around and you review restaurants and you have 100,000 subscribers. You're living the dream, you're making a lot of money doing this, it's awesome, right? Well, one day, without your knowledge or consent, some guy just starts taking your videos, taking the funniest moments from them and compiling them into his own little clip show channel just based on your content, using only your content. At first, you're kind of enamored by this, you think that's kind of funny, that somebody is this big of a fan of yours, and you think that, yeah, this will probably drive more traffic to my main channel. But then this guy starts putting out videos and they start getting more views than a lot of your videos. And eventually this guy gets more subscribers than you, and he starts making more money than you. Now you start to get pissed. You're like, hey, hold on a second. This guy's making bank over here, and I'm the one doing all the work. I think I deserve some of that money he's making, at least half. I mean, I'm doing, at the very least, half the work. Probably more than half the work, if you ask me. You'd be well within your rights to be pretty mad about that and want a cut of that money. I don't think it's unreasonable as a copyright holder to want to either squash that channel before it really took off, or at least get a cut of the money. So hopefully you see where YouTube's at, you see where the copyright holders are at, and you recognize the sort of situation that we're all in here, where, I don't want to see any of these compilation channels get sued or worse. I mean, they could just delete your entire channel, but so far you have dodged a bullet here. Try to use this to build off of. Use this as your moment to pivot towards better content. Anyway, I'm Slapshoes. Thanks for listening, and until next time, y'all take it easy.